Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, our weekly look at all things Hong Kong and international racing with the Hall of Fame jockey in Sha Tin, the best form analyst in the business, the guy next to me, who is looking magnificent in beige or off-white or maybe the bone. Hello, Hutch.
World Cup cricket on at the moment, so I thought I'd be at the Richie Banner, why wouldn't you? Yeah, that's been quite exciting. And so has the racing in Hong Kong, and we're building up to the trials, all the trials for the international races. So this is a big weekend of racing in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Sunday is going to be epic. RS Dye, hello, Golden Boy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. He is looking dapper, isn't he? He must be out for a special lunch and dinner today after the show.
He's always looking dapper, there's no doubting that. Hey, huge show coming up. All the usual suspects and all the Sweet in Defeat file, which has been humming along.
Yeah, nice.
What about from a subscriber's point of view? How'd we go on the weekend?
Yeah, we had a good weekend. There were some nice results there, and we backed it up on Wednesday, which was also a real positive. But no, if we can keep ticking over the way we have, Richard, we'll be very happy.
Let's check out the highlights.
The feature race, the Panasonic Cup. You've had a good association actually with Silvestre. The pace of the race might be sort of left up to you. Is that the way you read him? And what do you think of his chances?
I wouldn't mind if it was left up to me. When he gets to the front, he does prick his ears and switch off.
The leader is Silvestre, and Silvestre for the Panasonic Cup.
Very keen on this horse. I think he'll be extremely hard to beat. Aestheticism. It's extremely unlucky the other day. He got
extremely hard to say.
Yep, he got held up badly. Probably should have won.
Special Hedge poking through one off. It's Aestheticism who's raced up, taken the lead. Here's another one for the stable. That's Flying Pierre Ng and Zach Purton. Aestheticism.
And Super Winner is on a different level at present. He's flying, and he hasn't gone bad. He'll live.
Super Winner from Pierre Ng. D-Star, amazing victory, show respect, but all of the way, Super Winner. Super Winner is one from D-Star.
Add in Genius and Slaughter. Pierre Ng, our very special guest, is going to be outstanding, a whole stack of winners, so it is going to be a huge show. Well, let's first burst out of the gates. And Hutch, we burst out of the gates with one of our highlight horses, and wasn't it great to hear from Luke, and a talented young rider?
Yeah, it certainly was. He, as we said last week, doesn't get a lot of the opportunities, but look, Silvestre, he rated him really well. Shane, they sort of half left him alone, and Frankie Law, his horses seem to get better through the preparation. Probably a little bit of a pattern on the day, not a bad spot to be, but this horse, when he gets his own way for that first half, he can be very hard to run down.
That's very true. He ran a 22.5, which isn't fast for the first 400, more or less. Once you're running 21s, you're starting to go a little bit too quick. So he hung on, he rated him well, good ride, and he just doesn't get the opportunities, Clint, that kid.
Well, hopefully by us putting the spotlight on him, he will get a few more opportunities because he rides so well.
No, he does. And he's, like we pointed out last week, even Silvestre was a double-figured odds chance in the race. So, hopefully with a little bit more, a few more winners, and he's spreading himself out quite nice. And it sounds like he's, Shane, working closely with Mark Newnham, who hasn't had a whole heap of runners, but probably will have more. So that might kick him along a little bit.
The thing is, he's 21, Clint, and it always takes like a Brett Preble or Zach Purton or whatever. It took them 3, 4, 5 years to get going. And they come here with a very successful career at a older age than that. So he's got plenty of time. He'll just keep improving. And if he hangs around and stays and likes it in 3 or 4 years' time, he's the one that might take over.
Yeah, and there'll be opportunities in the immediate future because Huey Bowman had that serious injury. Get well soon, Hugh, and hopefully he and Christine and the family are having a bit of time off because looks like he'll be out of the saddle for a while.
He's had rotten luck, hasn't he? He had that suspension in Hong Kong. He got a suspension in Australia, goes back first day back and has that fall. It's sort of lucky and unlucky, isn't it, Shane, whenever you see that sort of stuff? He's injured, he's out for a considerable period of time. What are we saying,
6 to 8 weeks?
I think it's more than that. I think it'll be more than that. But
the best thing, Clint, about it was his mental approach. I saw what he wrote online, like this photo here, what he said. And I spoke to a few people and he's mentally very good. So, look, he's been down this path before, like all jockeys at that age. We've had many falls and injuries. He'll get over it. He'll come back as good as gold. It's just going to take a bit of time.
How tough these jockeys are. I've got a few fractures, nothing too serious, thank God. It is remarkable what they put their bodies through. 6 to 8 weeks for Huey that he will be out of the saddle. And while the cat's away, the mice will play, and Zach Burton has had a nice little heater going now.
Yeah, he's going really well. He's humming along nicely, and he's given some of these really nice rides. Happy hero. Shane, he just took his time and timed it to perfection.
I think he listened to the show last week, because I said he's been too aggressive in races, which he had. But on Wednesday night and last weekend, he wasn't aggressive out of the gates and on anything. And it made a difference. His ride on, what was it called, Brilliant Secret, was absolutely perfect. Midfield fence, come out down the back when he had an opportunity, hung on to him round the turn, he won easy, but he rode everything really, really well. And he just wasn't as aggressive as he has been where he didn't need to be, Clint. Did you notice that or not?
Yeah, I thought, well, a couple of them were get back anyway, but I did notice that even on Wednesday night, I think Talent Supremo was a good result for us. You know, he was happy to sort of take his time, but, you know, over the course of time, he's you can ride him for many.
Oh, such a star, isn't he? 6 winners in recent time. And actually, that name of that horse, Shane, was named after you. It's Billionaire Secret.
Billionaire Secret.
Billionaire, you know, that's
Just one thing, Richo, on those injuries. I noticed last week Jamie Carr did a story for RaceNet. I don't know whether you saw it or not. And she said the trouble she's got is she can't remember horses' names and she's got to Google them. Well, what have I kept saying about my injury?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
I cannot remember a name. I can look at it now in 5 minutes, I won't remember it. But if I look at a horse's barrier or number in a race, I will not forget it. But its name I can't remember. And she's not going to get that back. Like, I've been like that since mine, 15 years or whatever. So she's just got to learn to live with it, and she'll get over it and it'll be okay. But you just got to accept that and work your way around it, which I do. And I don't care anymore. People might have a laugh at me when I say wrong names. I'd rather be alive and say wrong names than 6 feet under the ground and not knowing and experiencing life.
Beautifully said. And tell me that, Shane, just talking about that. So your long-term memory, though, like if we talk about, you know, I've heard you talk about, you know, Tie the Knot, for example, and you can tell me the horses that are in and around it because they are a long time ago. It's more short-term, is it? It's
short-term. I lost my short-term memory. And I had to go back to school and learn. The other thing is, Richard, and I never said this, well, people might know when I've given injuries. When I had my fall, I was blind in that eye, right? And it took me a little while to get it back. And then I was as good as gold. But reading when I come out, I couldn't read or anything when I come out of hospital. It was just a blur, words and everything. I got this eyesight back in this eye and it was okay, but now it's going real blurry. Right. And I've got no doubt in time, might be soon, might be 2 years, might be 3, might be 5, who knows. That eye will definitely go blind. I've got no doubt. And that was from the fall. But I was just glad I had 15 years good with it. And after the fall, I was very lucky because when I come out of hospital, I couldn't see a thing out of it.
I don't want to make light of it, Shane, but we all get a little old and we need these things on occasion. So maybe you just need the specs.
Well, he's got the specs and he carries it beautiful.
This eye is as good as gold. And I played golf on Wednesday with a mate of mine. I'm coming home in the car. This eye while I was playing golf, things went a bit blurry for the first time. I come home, I went like that. I looked and I said, mate, I can see perfect out of this eye. And I went like that. And oh, my God, I could hardly see a thing. It was just a blur. So that eye is definitely going. And that was because of the fall.
Oh, well, thank God you're with us, mate. That's all I can say. And Jamie Carr is obviously something that she's working through, and we'll see her at the top of the pops, no doubt, very, very soon. Rode well during the Flemington Carnival. I tell you who's training well is our very special guest today in Pierre Ng. He is absolutely humming along.
Yeah, he's had an amazing tutelage, but a lot of trainers up there, or a few of them have worked under some top trainers. He's really delivering, well, as Frankie Law did in fairness, but he is flying. And what Pierre doesn't mind doing, we might discuss this with him as well, Shane, as we see his winner with Dragon Star. A couple of things. He doesn't mind sending them forward, that's one factor, but he's happy to run them. He's happy to keep running them, and they seem to be holding their form really well.
Well, what does John Sires do when they're in form?
Yeah.
He just keeps running them. Same thing. He runs them when they're in form. You know, there's a lot of trainers that give them a space. But when they are in form, you run them. So it's funny because last week on the show I said, you know, it's a worry. No trainer got away while John Size was going quiet, and someone had to get away for them to win the premiership. Now, the last 2 meetings, he's gone 7 wins ahead of everyone else, and he's got away from him. And now it becomes a bit of a struggle for John Size. Once you start to get 20 wins behind, you know, you need a couple of really good months when the other trainer doesn't have any. When you're 10 wins behind, you can pick him up easy, but not 20. It's a bit harder.
Yeah, he's going to give them a big break when his team starts to really kick into gear. Harry Bentley's been the story that everyone from afar has been looking on and saying, what is this all about? Official statement that Harry Bentley pleaded guilty to a charge of improper conduct under rule of racing 1555. Mr. Bentley suspended for 2 months from Friday the 3rd of November, the day he was stood down by the stewards, so back available after January 3, and fined 300,000 Hong Kong dollars. The question everyone would like to know, and we actually, you know, asked Harry to be involved. Harry, on our show here, Harry put this out on the artist formerly known as Twitter, where he'd like to thank the Hong Kong Jockey Club for their close consideration throughout the stewards' inquiry regarding an isolated incident which occurred when I was new to Hong Kong and the racing scene. I want to be extremely clear that the charge is in no way related to giving tips, betting, wagering, race fixing or accepting payment ahead of race riding. I'll use my suspension to prepare myself for the rest of the season and always do my very best for the owners, the trainers and the Hong Kong Jockey Club and all of his supporters. Can't wait to get back in the saddle. That's a classy response.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
What do we know?
Well, we don't know the finer details, so it's really hard to comment on it. But, you know, integrity is paramount in racing everywhere, especially Hong Kong. They monitor it very closely. There's obviously been a breach, but nothing corrupt has taken place. So that's the important thing. And, yeah, Harry's obviously going to learn a little bit from what's transpired and move forward. But the finer details we don't know, so it's really hard to comment too much on.
Shane, it's hard to add any more.
For one thing, it wasn't much. If you're going to get 2 months from the Jockey Club, they realise he did something, but he wasn't aware of it. I know what the Jockey Club's like. They would have come down harder if they think that there was anything untowards. So 2 months is absolutely nothing. So it was a let's suit Harry to get him back, and let's suit the Jockey Club to say that we're doing something.
A look at the premiership, and at the moment there is Pierre. So he's 7 clear. With a little clump of quality trainers that are there ready to pounce now. Zach's 7 and away, off and gone. Huey won't be riding for a long time. Karis Teaton, Angus Chung there with that 17 wins. Now, Luke Curry comes back to riding Group 1 races in Australia on the weekend. Just fingers crossed that Luke can get some sort of a run. We know he's a talented jockey.
Yeah, exactly.
Just needs the breaks to go his way.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. He's fighting an uphill battle at the moment, but he's got a couple of okay rides there on the weekend. But, you know, just one thing strikes me about that. I mean, the emergers, not the emergers, but in recent years, the local trainers are really stepping up to the mark. We've got some big names from around the globe that have arrived there. Some have left. But the ones that are there are top trainers, but it's hard to break in, you know. You know, you read those names, Danny Shum, Francis Loy, Pierre is a young up-and-coming trainer, of course, and Frankie Law's a championship winner. It is not an easy place, Shane, now to go there if you're from overseas and you train. I mean, the local guys are holding their own, if not excelling.
They've improved so much, and it's because of the likes of the good trainers coming in and learning from them, and they're adapting. They know that they don't have to gallop their horse. When I first went to Hong Kong, the thing I couldn't believe was how hard they gallop their horses. You know, whereas a lot of trainers overseas don't gallop them that hard. And then, of course, John Size come in and he's teaching them it's not about track work. You don't gallop your horse, as simple as that.
Let's find some future winners on the show.
They're off, and Sugar Sugar missed the start by 4 lengths. Then Dublin Star, Sugar Sugar fast, Buck Smart leader. Oversubscribed, lunges at the post, missed. Sugar Sugar, that's a sweet win for Alfie Chan.
Sweet in defeat file. Hutch, who jumps in?
Only a couple this week. I thought it was a little bit tough as far as that was concerned, but there were 2, one from Sha Tin and one from Happy Valley. I thought Silver King, ran very well first up, went forward, boxed on pretty well for Huey Bowman and just got collared late. And during the week, there was a horse that did hit the line very nicely indeed by the name of Game Player Elite. I thought those were the 2 that stuck out. This is Gameplay Elite, who's settled well back, just a bit outpaced. Not sure what his optimum trip will be, but you can see he's under the pumper fairway from home.
A long way out, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the tempo of the race, I think they thought they were going to go faster than they did. Tomodachi, Cockera and Wonder Kit, they didn't. Capital Delight went back to the inside, but have a look at his final 100. Richo, he really sprouted wings late. Some of his track work had been okay. He sort of had a bit of a checkered path there late, but look, he's one that on the back of this I'd be happy to sort of follow, and not sure, maybe he could get away with a 1200 at the Valley. He wasn't beaten far, but he looks as though he'd like a little bit further too.
Yeah, absolute eye catcher. So just 2 go into the sweet in defeat file. Jockeys, time to sit up and take notice. Genius or slaughter.
The end across, answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
The Hall of Fame jockey Shane Dye casts his eye over all the rides during the week. Shane, let's start with a positive. Who caught your eye as a great ride?
Well, Zach rode many good horses, good races on the weekend, there's no doubt. But one that stood out for me, which wasn't him, was Karis on this horse, Mughal. I actually backed him. His trials were good and his form was good last year. He went back on him, but this is a perfect ride. At no stage did he get this horse off balance or anything, and he never panicked. And he had an opportunity to come round them at the 700 and 600 if you're watching up here, and he didn't. He stayed in, he saved in his energy. Zach went to the front. This horse improved a lot. Clint, the leader, Beauty, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It went a lot better, and it ran well. It was a bit disappointing first up, but you watch up here, he just stays back, stays in. Now, most jockeys here would come out 3 deep when he had a chance and come out a bit, but he stayed in, and he comes up through them and gets the best run. But if you watch in the straight, he just keeps it so balanced, and he's patient, and because he saves so much energy, when he comes out, he's quickened. I think this is a nice horse, Clint.
Yeah, it was a good win, and I think I'm not sure whether Karis identified I think that inside section was clearly better on the day. And you're right, the runner-up was a lot better. Interesting with the runner-up, he was well backed on debut, and in the stewards report, Zach had mentioned he'd be better going up in trip where he can get into a good rhythm. There was a lot of pressure in that race, so he was better suited over 1200, and that's just a good thing for punters to learn, or people that watch races to learn sometimes. That 1,000 metres. Shame when you're outpaced and just taken out of your comfort zone, but you go up and trip and you can dictate from the front. Can be a big plus.
Yeah, I know it's a bit disappointing, but someone asked me about him the other day, and I said, well, he was first run here, and it was up the straight. I'd give him a forgive. And I said his trials were too good. He's definitely got ability, that horse. So he produced, and he can win very soon. Yeah,
and we're battling for the idol, and as a result of these positive rides, Zach Purton, with 6 winners in 2 meetings, gains 3.
Yeah, I gave him 3, and he rode sensational, rode really well. Karis got the 2 on that horse. Now, this was a really good ride from Jerry on Chile. He sat back, and at no stage was he going to go round them, and he gambled, and it's what won the race, Clint. If he'd gone round them, he had no hope. And he was never, ever at any stage going to go round them, and it was a really good ride, Clint. Angus rated that horse, Telecom Fighters, very, very well. Vincent, first day back, had a double, which was great. And Mo's first winner, I gave him a point. He rode it very well, and it was his first winner in a long time. He did absolutely nothing wrong.
Now, what about Karis? You took a point off. Why?
Boys, I want to show you. You can't do this on horses. I keep saying now.
Starship 80, it's called.
If we watch this Starship, watch here, and we'll just pause it here, boys. Now, he misses the start, right? Now, he must have been told to go forward on it. So I know you've got to follow the instructions of trainers. I understand that. But when things don't go right, you do not follow trainers' instructions. You use your brain. Now, this horse probably should have won this race. And when he missed the start, he dug him to go forward. Now, he could have been behind the horse in the purple cap, which is son of McPhee. And if you have a look at the winning 3 horses in the race, first, second, third, they're all together right there. Now, where's he? He's up there 3-4 wide working going forward, which was quite a fast, well, a little bit quick race. And they all come from back here, like 5th, 6th, 7th, and he would have just had the run of the race. And this horse normally gets back a bit. I reckon he should have won for sure. But what I'm saying is you cannot do that. If a trainer... Look, I'm not against riding to trainers' instructions, But what I'm trying to teach the boys is when something goes not right, forget your instructions. Ride the horse accordingly. It's like Ryan Moore last week on the Breeders' Cup winner.
Yeah.
That was instruction number 5, or F. That was the last thing he thought he would do in a race. But he did that because that was the best thing to win the race at that stage. And if Karras, when he missed the start, just say, okay, I'm not going to get there, I'll follow Son of Macvie, which got a chance, he could have won the race. But going forward like that gave him no hope.
And then you found another race that Zach Purton won on Humble Star. Was there some rides in behind that you didn't like?
Well, I actually backed Super Commander in this because I thought he'd get us. If we jump out, now we stop here. Angus, who's riding really well, mustn't do form, right? And I want to teach him because he's got ability and he's going great. And I'm not trying to criticise. It's constructive criticism to help you.
Yeah.
If you do form in this race, it's only 8 horses. And 4 get back last straight away. So you don't have to worry about them. They're going to be 5 lengths, 6 lengths behind you. They do every start. So there's only now 4 horses up there and you're on one of them. One of them doesn't go forward at races 5th or 6th. So you got 3 horses. So you got Super Commander on the fence inside you, which is always going to lead. You're not going to clear him. So he didn't need to push this horse. He just could have got the best run. He did not need to push. So that's a jockey not knowing the form of races. You've got to learn your form. The other one is Karras. Now, when this is when I realise he's trying to follow Stewart's trainer's instructions, because in the Stewart's report, Karras said he was meant to be outside the leader, which was the stablemate, right? And that's what the trainer wanted. So he tried to ride to instructions. When that horse jumped out and the kid's digging that horse, he should have just come straight back in behind and not worried about trainer's instructions and being third fence. And he might have actually won the race if that happened, the way the race was run. They wouldn't have gone so fast, so no one knows. But when the 3 of them went like that, none of them had a hope and they had to stop. But Angus, you've got to know the form in the race, and you blew that at the start by digging that horse and costing yourself energy when you didn't need to. If it was a normal 1,000-metre race with 12 runners and 5 that lead, that's a different ball game. But if you'd done the form in that race, you didn't need to do that. Understand, Clint?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Great insight. And as a result, the leaderboard here now for racing's highest honour, the great prize. Without a doubt, everyone's battling to win the Idol. And Huey has been passed by Zach. He leads by 1 now.
Well, Zach rides so many winners, and he was off for a while, but on the last 2 meetings, he's ridden outstanding, given every horse a perfect... apart from one, the thing, Taj Dragon, probably should have gone to the front on that, but it was going 1,400 to 1,650, so that's a forgive because he's worried if he goes forward, it may not run the distance if he leads when he probably should have in a slow-run race. So I can understand why he sat 3 wide on it. So I didn't have it down as a bad ride. It was just the circumstances of the horse.
So there we go. Purton leads Bowman by 1. That's Genius or Slaughter. Hey, get your pens out. We're going to learn some lessons. Let's learn some lessons, and we have received mail, Shane, and it's addressed to you from On the Flat, and I love this question. It is, can you ask Shane Dye, what can trainers do or jockeys do to help a horse get the Happy Valley final bend? And it is one of racing's great sights hurling around that final bend. Shane, you as a jockey, how do you get them to get around that bend?
Well, the first thing you can do is a trainer can put a hanging bit on, and that can stop a horse from lugging out and hanging. It's a different type of bit in their mouth. That helps. The best I've ever seen from a jockey's point of view was Joe Moreira. He used to get them to change their strides all the time, and he used to get a horse to change onto their right leg at about the 300 or 400 in a race, whereas most jockeys wouldn't do it. So how you get a horse to change stride is you pull on one rein, and then you pull on the other rein, and it runs the bit through their mouth and their heads go a little bit sideways, and you get them to change stride onto the other leg, and that sometimes helps. Sometimes you can't do that. A horse just hangs and you can't do anything about it. I've had horses run straight off with me nearly through the outside fence. This horse, as soon as he jumped the other day, was on one rein. He never got round there any part of the track. And when I say one rein, what I mean by like that, if you've got a flat tyre and you're on a motorway and you let the steering wheel go, that car will go one way, veer the opposite way normally, gradually.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? So this is the same. As soon as that horse jumped, he would have just gone straight out the whole way if Vincent didn't have one rein. And one rein is the inside rein. He had hold of that the whole way tightly and not the outside. So he just struggled. But he'll learn from that and he'll get round there one day. And it was a big run and he's a nice horse.
That was some run, wasn't it,
Big
from
run.
Karma?
Yeah, no, it was enormous. And maybe as well, with a horse like that, Shane, if they do go back to the Valley Mile, maybe drawing inside horses might help him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big striding horse too. It could. There's no doubt about that. That can help. But he run enormous.
Thank you on the flat 13. It was a great question. Talking about the horse that won that race, from a G1 Goldmine point of view, where are we going to go with him?
Well, this is really interesting as well. Now, as far as the pedigree is concerned, and he's only a lightly raced horse, Chilby. According to the algorithms with Group 1 Goldmine, which is what we love, now this pedigree is littered to say that this horse could be top class because Danny Shum, post the race, mentioned that there is a good chance this horse might be headed towards a derby, potentially. Is he good enough pedigree-wise? He certainly is. We'll highlight him later in the season when we look at his distance profile, but you can see how strong he has been over the Valley Mile. And I can tell you off my ratings, my personal ratings, where he's at the moment, this horse, he's doing what Voyage Bubble did very early on and put up a couple of good numbers. He's put up some seriously good numbers, Chilby. He's a lot better than what his rating suggests, and I don't think Sha Tin will be any problem. In fact, he might even be better there.
Right.
Good, interesting horse going forward because he's got a lot of ratings to go at yet, Shane, but he's clearly a talent.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. He's done nothing wrong so far, Clint.
Hey, let's talk the international week coming up and all the invitees.
150 to go, Sunline's a length in front. King Prawn lifts, they come to the line. Sunline, the mare of the world, wins it.
Well, a key part of the international racing week is Wednesday night, the International Jockey Challenge. Absolute beauty, and it's a star-studded field with James McDonald being one of the many jockeys from all around the world that have been announced. Now, the reigning champ is Tom Marquand. He'll be there to defend his title, and he's bringing his wife with him, if you don't mind. Now, Zach Purton is the Hong Kong champion jockey, not representing Australia, but representing Hong Kong as the champ. And we know how competitive he will be. And Rachel King, though she is English, is representing Australia.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have her as well. She went to Japan and was fantastic over there. In fact, I think a horse of hers went amiss in the last leg of that jockey series and she just went down. But Shane, you'll be pleased to see Ryan Moore's going.
He comes every year. Boys, can you tell me why Frankie Dettori's not in it since it's his, well, it was meant to be his last year, we know now, but I thought they would have invited him for it.
It's a great question. I just presumed that he would be there, so maybe he's got other plans, maybe other parts of the world where he needs to be, but gee, you'd love to add a little bit of star power there, was sprinkled in, even though we've got them coming from everywhere.
I'm frightened to pronounce his name. I'm going to call him BM, and but I know Yuga Kawada. We've seen Kawada head over, but look, it's a stellar lineup. It's a great appetizer, the Wednesday meeting with all these jockeys, and J Mac, he is riding exceptionally well. Of course, over the Cup Carnival, he won the award there, even though he didn't have the most amount of winners. But his ride on Romantic Warrior in the Cox Plate emulated what he did last year. So this will be one of the highlights, as it always is.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So make sure you tune in and watch it all, because that Wednesday night meeting is fantastic. And then the best of the best stay for the Sunday with the 4 big Group 1s, and they are absolutely awesome. Now, one thing that we also found out is that James McDonald, not only is he going for that international meeting, he's going to have an extended stay. In fact, he's going to go all the way through to the new year there.
He's there for 5 weeks. So, yeah, and he'll get Shane some good opportunities, one would imagine. You know, Huey's on the sidelines. The club obviously wanted another big name, and they've done a great job because they got one.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet in Australia unless you want to go to Perth over Christmas, and I suppose James didn't. He would have to be back for the Magic Millions, and that's probably why he's going back early January. But it's the ideal time for him. He can have a little bit of a break from something different from the big racing in Australia, get there, have a look, see what it's like, and Newey's not available, and that's huge. So he's going to get a lot of very good rides, you know, and then Newey will come back more or less once he leaves. So it works out well for the club and well for trainers, owners, punters, everyone.
And importantly, something that you've mentioned, Shane, importantly, his wife Caitlin loves it there. They'll take Evie over as well, their little daughter. So that'll be a beautiful little 5-week trip for them, though. We'll lap it up. And he may zip back to WA and ride in a Group 1 and then get back into Hong Kong to make sure he fulfills his engagements. No Mr. Brightside. We've heard from an international point of view. Unfortunately, no Australian horses now. No Mr. Brightside, no Zaki racing. But we are hearing that West Wind Blows will have a crack at a race. You would think maybe the Vars, runner-up in a Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, they'd entered him there. And, well, there was a bit of talk, Shane, about his last run, Jamie Spencer, after missing the kick, taking off.
Don't get me started.
Let's catch up with a trainer who is absolutely starring at the moment. Well, our star power guest has been the star of the show in regards to the training ranks. Pierre Ng is his name. Pierre, thank you so much for joining us on the show. And firstly, congratulations to the start of the season. You must be really pleased.
Yes, definitely pleased with the horse performance. And the whole stable is working really well. And we just hopefully we keep going and fight for what we can fight for.
Pierre, you had a great first season and you've built on that this time in, and you've been happy to run a lot of your horses. You've had them ready. You got lofty ambitions, big ambitions this season?
Ambitions, yes. That honestly, we just try to get the results for the owners, for all the connections, and just keep going along. Don't think about the numbers of winners we got, and hopefully better than last season.
Pierre, who's been the biggest influence on your career?
Obviously, my father was the big part growing up in this racing industry, and a lot of learning as well from different trainers during working through the Jockey Club and overseas. So bits and mix of everything, and definitely by my father was mostly why I'm working here now.
One thing, Pierre, that I just mentioned a while ago about you're running your horses a lot, but they're taking their racing really well, and you did a similar thing last season. So, you know, is there any sort of, not secret, but is there any like trainers or part of that process that you've taken on board and you know, using that to the way that you train your horses?
I think mostly important is the horse is fit and healthy. So when they manage to do that, and they can go to races whenever there's an option. I think this is most important key for it, and how they recover from the race and goes again. Frequent runner, to be a frequent runner.
Well, I think last year you had 41 winners and now you're on, 22. So you're past, and it's only been 3 months. You're going to go way past that. And where you are now with the class of horse you've got a great chance to win the premiership in your second season. So congratulations. Your dad must be very, very proud, mate.
Yes, he's proud. And I'm still trying to looking for the next Shane Dye in here. So hopefully I can find one.
Trust me, it's impossible to find another one like him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, on that season last season, you had a great season, but you've bolstered your numbers as well. So you're seeing quite a few new horses in your yard now?
Yes. There's about 15, 20 that hasn't been start racing, and the ones that been started to race, and mostly frequent runners as well. So the team is big and strengthened. So yeah, we're quite ready for it.
And you told us just off air a moment ago you're in Chung Fa. Now, Chung Fa's a relatively new thing in the training sort of schedule in Hong Kong anyway in recent years. How often do you go up, and how important is it in terms of getting your horses prepared?
I'm just probably looking for twice a month, if I can. It's a very good environment for horses. When they are pretty tired from racing in Hong Kong, they can come back up and refreshing. It's a beautiful course, facilities in here, and that what makes my team to be stronger as well.
And Pierre, you mentioned about, and Hutchi brought in about the new stock. How do you go about recruiting and finding the right horses for the Hong Kong environment?
Definitely, temperament comes first, and I think every trainer wants to find the right horse, which is a bit difficult. And we just keep finding everywhere in the world, probably, mostly Australia and New Zealand. And when we find a good one, we train them there and berry trial them overseas and get them in the right time, so then save more time for the owner.
Pierre, have you found anything for the Derby this year, or purchased anything for the Derby?
There's one or two, but still haven't start racing yet. They just been trialing, so hopefully they show up in 6 to 8 weeks time.
Oh, do you want to give us a name?
I wouldn't say that to her.
Let's go for no. I don't want to give them a no. Let's have a look at your runners on Sunday. He knows us well, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Hutch, take us through that.
Yeah, you got some good runners there, and you've represented particularly in the sprint race there with Duke Y and Super Wealthy. One horse that I want to ask you about in particular, Pierre, is Galaxy Patch. I think he's got a good chance. He won on debut for you, and then you ran him on the dirt. How do you think he can run on the weekend?
We ran him on the dirt. It was quite disappointing for us, and on that night, track didn't suit him well, and so we put him through the trial last week, and he trialed brilliant well. So hoping him to perform like his first start.
He showed a really good turn of foot on that occasion, so he looks like a nice prospect going forward.
Yes, definitely. He looks like a very nice sprinter to me. And hopefully he managed to get it up step by step.
We talked about as well backing horses up. You've got Billionaire Secret, who won last week, but you've got two other very good chances in that race as well. And they bring different form lines, but can you tell us about your runners there? I think it's Frank Attack was one.
And Turin Mascot.
And Turin Mascot, who's a last start winner at the Valley as well. I mean, I think you can nearly make a case for every one of them. Yes,
Frank Attack is very, very consistent stayer in overseas form. And the longer he goes, the better he handles it. And last run was brilliant. And the further this time, 2,000 meters suits him well. He draws the gate, and he'll probably roll in the pace and try to sustain a long run starting off early as well. And Turin Mascot is consistent, same. The further he goes, the better he is. Looking forward, he is in good form as well. Billionaire Secret, he won very well last start, class 4. We just try to get the bonus for the owner, because if he wins in class 3, he'll get the extra bonus for it. And hopefully he can do the similar pattern like last time.
And you mentioned there with one of the runners, I think Frank Attack, he likes to go along at a decent tempo. That's something else I've noticed with a few of your runners over various trips. It seems like the instructions, you don't mind telling, I'm assuming, the riders to go and make it a good, genuine speed.
Yes, some horses just they don't have the sprint and they just stayed on. So by doing that, I think we just start getting them to go earlier. So getting a good 2 sections. So very hard for horses to catch.
Pierre, one quick question. You went on about the horses in race 6, the 3 of them. We understand all that. But if you were a jockey, which one are you picking to ride? Because you didn't say which one you would.
It is all organized. probably 3-4 weeks ago. And
No. Which one do you like the best out of the three of them?
It's very hard to say. Hopefully it comes top 3.
Mate, I love how Pierre's playing us on a break, isn't he? Who would you like to ride, Shane, more importantly?
Yes.
I think Terra Mascot and Billionaire Secret have got a chance. Billionaire Secret over 2,000 metres. I think Pierre, he's had 2 goes there and won them both. I could be wrong.
Yes.
3.
Yes.
He goes well. He loves
two goes, yeah.
2 goes and he's won them both. And both times he's won them, he's looked impressive. Now, is he a Class 3 horse? He was going well enough last start in Class 4 that would suggest to me he can handle it. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to another level.
Just one quick question, Pierre, before we let you go and get back to work, and we appreciate your time again. But look, we've got the international, obviously, trials all this weekend. We're not going to see Golden 60. We're going to see him first up in December. Now, you had a lot to do with him in your time with Francis. How do you reckon going into a race like that first up, will it be suitable for him to go in fresh to that race?
I think it's suitable. I think my old boss make the right decision, not to use him up too much and just to get him fit with the trials. That's all we need. There's always looking for just one grand final, and he timed it right.
He tends to get it right, doesn't he? So just repeating, Pierre, just before we let you go, your very best chance on the weekend is?
I'll say Touring Mascot.
Oh,
yeah. We got it out of them.
We got it. You're a star, Pierre. We look forward to seeing you in person during the International Week. Thanks for being part of our show.
All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
That was good work.
He's a character. We went. Yeah. How many times do we have to ask him the same question?
And he was very good at sort of dodging it, wasn't he? Super work for
Mate, he should be opening the batting for Australia.
Shouldering arms a lot too, just letting it go.
He was taking the shine off it, wasn't he? Eventually he hit it out of the park. Brilliant work. That is great stuff. Talking about winners, let's see if we can find one. Well, let's find a winner on Sunday, and this is a terrific meeting, Hutch. Some of the features are very small fields, so let's zip to race number 7. Your thoughts will be fascinating.
I think it has shown there's a little bit of a void now with the sprinting ranks and potentially in time too the mile ranks. But look, Lucky Sweyness is going to start short. He's back to the weights are back in his favour now, set weights and penalties, and he will start short and he will be extremely hard to beat. I expect him to win and he'll start shorter than $1.45 I'd expect. Wellington for Jamie Richards, got to make a case. Don't know what to do with Victor, the winner. He was disappointing last start. His win prior when he had all favours was good, but I feel like he'll bounce back. But and I think Sight Winner's probably got he got a great ride on this occasion. But the key factor here, Shane, is just the weight swing.
Yeah, big, huge, and he should be winning. If he can't win now, he's in trouble International Day. Victor, the winner, remember him last year? He went bad one day and then he come out and won again after a bit of a break. This horse is going well, Wellington. He's done nothing wrong since he's been back in his trials, and he's had easy trials, Clint. He's got the ability, we all know that. So he's not the worst, but I've definitely got Lucky Schwaz, as everyone would have on.
Aging sprinter, he goes really well. Wellington fresh too, I think. He's got quite
Jamie Richards.
Now with Jamie Richards, I hope they ride him a little bit more patiently. I think he goes even better when you give him a little bit of a chance. Wellington, I think a few occasions they've sort of either they've drawn well or they've wanted to hold a spot. But he's one of those horses that, and I don't know if Shane's got the same opinion, but I think he's the kind of horse that goes to another level when you just bring him back that length and leave him for that finishing burst. His best performances are always when you can give him an easy first third of the race.
Well, this is the
day.
Remember
when Ryan won the international sprint on him?
Yeah.
Last year, he rode him back a bit. He didn't go forward and he didn't push him out of the gates. He come back off him, and that's why he won.
Well, this is the day that I've been avoiding. This is D-Day for me because, I've gone with the theory that even though he's had the big weights against him, I just saw something that he's not at his best, Lucky Sweyness. So I've been avoiding this day because it's D-Day and I could have egg all over my face.
No, well, he probably was even with the weights because we saw him beat that similar field at the end of last season. But maybe Manfred's just been going through the motions. It's time to step up now.
Well, I'm going to turn off my phone if he goes and bolts in, because I don't want to get the feedback from you two. I don't want any messages whatsoever.
You'll see what the weight can do on the weekend.
Okay, I'll learn the hard way. You never know. I could be right. Race number 8, once again, a small field. So now we're talking at the mile, and I take your point about, you know, the numbers and the depth. Only the 5 runners.
Yeah, only the 5 runners. California Spangle, $1.50-ish. I think he'll be, I'd say he'd win 2 out of 3 here. He's going to dictate from the front. Chadwick's picking up the ride. I like him. I think Beauty Eternal's had 2 trials since that last run. He's ready to go. He's improved. And a horse I've got a lot of time for, and I think he can measure up Voyage Bubble. The Derby was no fluke. He's got excellent form over the mile. He is fresh up, so that's the little negative. But, gee, they're going to find it hard to beat California Spangle, Shane, given that he gave them weight here and a beating.
Yeah, the only thing is there's pace in this race. I know Voyage Bubba will probably take a sit, but if he wanted to lead, he could. But he'll take a sit. So you got Healthy Happy and, of course, California Spangle. Does Healthy Happy dig up and make the race a lot faster? But then he struggles at the mile if he does that. So he's got the perfect barrier, California Spangle, drawn outside the other 2, where he can just take his time, come across and lead. And at the weights on their last run, you think really he's got to win again, don't you, Clint?
You do.
Well, what will you do? Give some advice from a punt. Do you take the all up, or do you play, or do you watch? What do you do?
In this race, no, I wouldn't take an all up. I mean, California Spangle might be backable because I think there will be some support around for Beauty Eternal to turn it around potentially. But Voyage Bubble, I could easily have something small on in the race as well. Perhaps a Cornella's an option.
What will you do, Shane, with the 2 short price favourites?
I will tell you this. This is D-Day for Beauty Eternal. Absolute D-Day. There's no excuse here. He was going to sit off them, and now does he quicken like a superstar or doesn't? This race here tells you how good he is and where he can go. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah.
It's still early days for him, though. I mean, he's only having his 12th career start. I thought, look, he was beaten a length the other day, and California Spangle did have a good time of it up on speed, and Zach was a pair further back. He'll still be in a similar position here, Zach, but I think he'll just improve off the back of that run. So there's a little bit to offset, but yeah, he does need to improve. But I don't think there'll be much in it when the whips are cracking.
But if he quickens and gets over the other horse to win the race, I'm not surprised because I know he's got the ability. But if he can't, how's he going to beat him in the future?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it makes it tougher, but he is still quite lightly raced. That's the only thing I'd say. But the horse that I really got a big watch on this season is Voyage Bubble. He's a real talent, and he wasn't given a very good ride, I didn't feel, against the sort of top-level horses last year towards the end of the season at this level. He was posted wide without cover and only beaten 2 lengths. He's a lot better horse than that.
Okay, and Shane, Hutch has rated them both about $1.50. Of Lucky Sweynesse and California Spangle, who are you most confident of?
Lucky Swears.
Okay.
I think California Spangle will be a bit more than $1.50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he might be. Yeah, Lucky Sweynesse for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Race number 9. We've got 9 runners here. Zach Purton riding Sword Point. Terrific racing again. So now we go over a longer trip and we get to see horses that we know so well, like Russian Emperor and Sinortova.
This wasn't an easy race to price up, actually, but I'm happy to be with Sword Point. I don't think there's a lot of pressure in the race. There's a lot of horses that get back, including 5G Patch and Straight Aaron. Straight Aaron needs to improve. 5G Patch is racing well. We've got Money Catch out of form, but he gets back to set weights and penalties, which helps him. But there's no pressure in this race, and like I said, a lot of back markers. And I think Sword Point, who had his chance here, Shane, but he carried weight once again, and he drops back down against a lot of rivals and will have a few favours. Yes,
he does. He'll be on pace, of course. He'll get a good run. Money Catcher will probably lead, you'd think, Clint. And there's not too many in this race that really go. Most of them, when you look at it, Russian Empire, Sinortova, they all race 5G Patch, Glorious Dragon, even Straight Aaron. You go through them. La City Blanche, they all get back a bit. Nimbus is racing well. He'll go forward. Not an easy race, this. I'd probably have Sword Point. I do think this is D-Day also for Straight Aaron. He's had 2 runs. They weren't bad, but they weren't great. He's done nothing wrong. He's going to a good distance. Now, if he's going to be an international horse, he's got to measure up here, Clint. This is D-Day definitely for him.
Yeah, I think with him, I'm happy to forgive him those couple of runs leading in because they weren't the kind of race shape that would really suit him, Shane. They've gone very slow and sprinted, and I think he's better off a a decent speed and run through the line. But I understand what you're saying because, you know, he seemed to be going a bit better around Derby time last year when Casper Founds first picked him up. And he's couple of runs in, I wanted to see him running through the line, and he clearly peaked on his run the other day, but I think he made his run between the 600 and the 200, and that's why he was a bit empty late. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but you're right, he needs to step up big time here. But it could be a similar case. They might not go that quick and build from the 1,000, and that's going to be an issue for him once again. So I'm not sure about that, but Sword Point I'm pretty confident with. I like him a lot. Money catcher leads, nimble. Nimbus is on speed. They're not going to go overly quick. He's going to park somewhere in there, and I think he'll be too strong for them late.
The very best of the weekend for you, Hutch. We'll allow you to go first.
Well, thank you very much.
Age before beauty.
Well, that's for sure.
That hurts.
I think I'm older, aren't I? How old are you, Clint?
No, you are older, but you're beautiful, though.
Okay. Look,
What?
I think there's a bet early in the day. Raging Blizzard, who ran really well on debut last season, well supported in the market. His trials have been great. He's having his second career start, first up for John Size, tricky gate 11. But I take him in a Quinella with a debutant from Danny Shum's yard called Gorgeous Win, who went well in a trial in New South Wales and has had a couple of trials up there and impressed. So that's one race. And then I think Sword Point. I really think Sword Point will be a bet. I'm hoping that the likes of Straight Aaron and a couple of others coming in the market, and I can be on him as well. But those would be the two good plays for the day for me.
And of course, hutchieshonkers.com, jump online, a full analysis.
I want to say one thing. I mean, there's a great race on the card which we'll be covering, which involves the likes of Lucky Encounter, Helios Express. I mean, it's nearly. I know we've got the international trials, Shane, but there's a race there early in the day. I think it might be race 5. That is an absolute ripper. Flying Ace, Lucky With You.
Race 4.
Race 4, sorry. Bundle of Charm, Dream Winner. There are some potential stars in that lineup. Get on board.
I was going to ask you about that, Clint. What have you got on top there?
Well, you have to subscribe, RS.
www.
Hutchie's Honkers is the way you find out. But importantly, what's your best bet?
I'll go and, I'll go Smart Fighter, race 5. His last run was good. He's a nice horse. Last season he raced well and had an excuse the second run. I think if he can get in from gate 14, and there is pace in this race, there's a few. Chichel Brother will go, of course. My Intelligent will have to go forward from there. Speed Star goes forward.
How would you ride him, Shane?
I'd ride him midfield, take a gamble. I sit 3 wide on him.
3 wide trail.
I'm happy to sit 3 wide.
See, that's what we do.
He's got the pace to go forward, but I think he's better midfieldish, you know. But if they wanted to dig him, he would probably get across, but you're burning him, you know, and he finishes too strongly. I think he's a nice horse. He's going to go to Class 3 for sure, this horse.
Our subs were on him last start. It was a horror watch. We got nailed on the line.
I still
won't bring it up.
Don't want to talk about it. Still far too soon. But it's
so one quick thing. Race 4, I've still got to pay for a Hong Kong Hop.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I know someone. I'll be able to send it through to you.
Yeah.
I can. I'll give you the heads up. What's going on
I'll say
there.
this, Shane. I think you'd be surprised. I've got a reasonably short price runner in that. So,
Dream Winner?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I'm doing a Pierre Ng.
Winner?
Hey,
I'm doing
he's
a
learned
Pierre.
from Pierre.
No.
You, nothing. Absolutely zero. And maybe the Richo Ruffy Wellington might be able to knock off like
Go, there you go.
Come on.
All right.
Yeah, all over my face, no doubt. RS, looking forward to your company next week.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend. Good luck and enjoy the day's racing. It's fantastic.
We will love it. Happy punting, Hutchie Tonkers. Thanks for watching on 7 Plus or wherever you're watching us around the world.